Today's lesson is again on simplifying algebraic expressions. We're going to be combining a couple things we've learned from the two previous lessons to help us do what we're doing today. So technically today isn't anything brand new. It's just a combination of some other skills we've already worked on. So our objective is I can use the distributive property to solve multi-step equations. We're going to be using some distributive property today, but again, we're not quite yet putting it in the context of equations. So our introductory problem here, or our example problem, says write the expression in simplest form. It's 5 and then in parentheses 3x minus 2 and then plus 12 there at the end. So the first thing today is going to be to eliminate parentheses. Just like in order of operations, we always want to take care of the parentheses first. That's what we're doing here with these algebraic expression. So rewrite the expression here underneath step number 1, and we're going to be taking instead of doing 3x minus 2, which we can't do because those are not like terms, we're going to be using the distributive property. So we're going to take in 5 times 3x. 5 times 3 is 15, and then the x is also being multiplied there, and then 5 times negative 2, we're going to include that sign there to make that negative 10. This plus 12 here at the end is not part of this distributive property. It's not in parentheses. It's not right next to the parentheses showing multiplication. It's just plus 12 at the end there. So we just bring that down. Step number 2 is to identify like terms. So we've got 15x. Do we have another x term we can combine with that? It doesn't look like it. So we have negative 10 and positive 12 that are both constants though, so those could be combined. So then step number 3 then is to combine those like terms. So I'm just bringing down my 15x because there's nothing to combine with that. But then negative 10 plus 12, there's 2 more positives and negatives, so it would be plus 2. And then we're going to make sure we get the order right. We're going to write the terms with the variable first, and if there's more than one term with a variable, we're going to write those in alphabetical order. So we've already got it in the right order here. I'm just going to rewrite my answer as 15x plus 2. So those are going to be the steps today as we work our way through these problems. We're going to kind of do like an easier one, a medium one, and then kind of a difficult one. So let's do the together problems. Number 1 is 3, and then in parentheses 2x minus 4, after the parentheses plus 2. This would be very similar to the problem we just worked out here. So first of all, we're going to do the distributive property to eliminate the parentheses. We're going to take 3 times 2x. 3 times 2 is 6. There's also an x there. And then 3 times negative 4. 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. This plus 2 we just bring down because it's not part of that distributive property step. Step number 2 is to identify like terms. We've got 6x, and then we've got negative 12 and positive 2 that are both constants. So the 6x can't be combined with anything. But negative 12 plus 2 are both constants. They can be combined. We compare these. We've got more negatives than positives. In fact, the difference between 12 and 2 is 10. So there's 10 more negatives than positives. 6x minus 10. All right, number 2. This is going to be a little bit longer here. 4, and then parentheses 3x minus 5y. Minus 7, and then parentheses 3x plus 4y. We've got 2 sets of parentheses here. So in step number 1, we actually have 2 things to do. We're going to be taking this 4 times these things in parentheses, and then we're going to take this negative 7. We're going to take this sign with it as you multiply that by both things in parentheses. So 4 times 3x is 12x. 4 times negative 5y is negative 20y. And then we're going to do this distributive property as well. Negative 7 times 3x is negative 21x. And negative 7 times 4y is negative 28y. So now we look for our like terms. We're going to start with x here. I've got 12x. Look for anything else that has an x. There we go, negative 21x. And then I've got negative 20y and negative 28y that are like terms. Make sure you get those signs in front of those as you identify those like terms. So let's see, 12x minus 21x. We got more negatives than positives, and the difference between 12 and 21 is 9, so it's going to be negative 9x. Then I've got negative 20y minus 28y. I've got negatives and more negatives, so it's going to be an even bigger negative number. Just combine them together, negative 48y. So we've got those in alphabetical order. We're good to go. All right, last one here. This one's kind of a whopper. We got 14y minus 3, and then in parentheses, 2x minus 8y plus 4, and then plus 7, and then in parentheses, 5x minus 8 plus 8. Just take a minute and make sure you've got all that copied down correctly. We've got quite a bit there to work with. All right, anything not part of the distributive property step, this first step here, we just bring down. So 14y is not in parentheses, it's not being used for distributive property here, just bring that down. This negative 3 that we have here is going to be distributed out to all these things in parentheses. There's 3 things in there. So don't forget to include that sign. Negative 3 times 2x is negative 6x. Negative 3 times negative 8y, a negative times a negative is a positive, and 3 times 8 is 24, so 24y. And then also negative 3 times 4, which is negative 12. Also part of this distributive property step, positive 7 times 5x and times negative 8. So 7 times 5 is 35, so positive 35x as well with that as well. 7 times negative 8 is negative 56, and then you have this plus 8 there at the end. That's not part of the distributive property, we just bring down. So now we have to identify our like terms here. We've got, let's see, 14y. Any other y terms? Yeah, we got plus 24y. I think that's it for the y terms. We've got x, negative 6x, positive 35x. And then we have several constants here, negative 12, negative 56, positive 8, that we need to combine as well. In alphabetical order, x comes first. So let's go ahead and do our x terms first here. 24y, negative x and 35x. Let's see, you got more positives and negatives, and looks like you have 29 more positives and negatives. So 29x takes care of my x's there. And then your y terms, we got 14y and 24y. That looks like that's going to be 38y. And then you've got your constants, your constants here. So negative 12 and negative 56 would make negative 68. And then plus 8 would take rid of those 8 of those negatives. And I think that's just going to end up giving you negative 60 in the end there. So looks like this is our simplest form. Everything combined that we can combine. All right, we'll do more with this in class. We'll see you guys then.